And actually, Debbie and Dave are with us to talk about the support that the Manx Blind Welfare Society offers almost 600 people here in the Isle of Man who are living with serious sight loss. And there are some 200 volunteers, is it, Debbie, who help with everything from hospital visits and regular social outings to providing a talking book library and a weekly news service. And very recently, technology that many of us have in our homes already is helping give more people access to these sort of services. What's been happening, Debbie?
Well, we've been producing a weekly news service since 1972. It's been run by volunteers since then. In the past 8 years, I'd say, Dave, we moved from tape, which when you show kids tapes, they sort of go, what's that? And we moved from that to a USB stick, and we send that out to nearly 100 people every single week. And in the past 4 weeks, we've actually gone online. So all our weekly news services are now available online. So they're not actually just available to somebody that's visually impaired. They're actually available to anybody that might have a problem reading a newspaper. So our volunteers read about 90 minutes worth of news from the Examiner and or the Independent, and then we do some magic with it and it goes up online, and it can be found now online at mbws.org.im.
And there's no telling, really, Dave, just how much of a difference that can make to somebody living with a visual impairment, I suppose.
It makes a massive difference, because when you're not able to access print, people who read the papers, it's very difficult. You hear the headlines on Manx Radio, that's fine. But the other things, the interesting articles, the bits and bobs, the skeet that goes on the islands, you miss out. If you miss out for any period of time, you very suddenly fall off the world. And having this recording that arrives every Saturday, usually, on people's doorsteps, they wait for this recording. It's like having a friend in the room reading the paper to them. And it's done on purpose in that way. It's not supposed to be an absolutely perfect recording. You know, it's there as a basically like someone else sitting there with you. And as Debbie said, the technology's moved on massively. I mean, I've done the usual thing and brought props to radio, which is a great idea. But what we do is we issue, it's a USB stick, but we call it a key, because if you mention MP3s and USB, some people run away screaming. So we call it a key. And we issue very small little player. I've got one on my hand. It's only very, very tiny. It's about the size of a portable radio. And basically it has a slot in the top where the key goes in. And that's it. Somebody turns it on the front, and then they will get the recording play back to them. They can take it in the garden in the summer or move around the house with them when they're doing the bits and bobs. It's a brilliant little player. It's always useful to bear in mind as well that all of these services are free. There's no cost to anybody to use these services. And as Debbie mentioned, we've now gone super high tech. I'm not going to mention this lady's name because everybody's device will start going mad. Alex was very naughty and did that last time we talked about this. But we've got these little echo dots with a lady's name beginning with A.
It sounds a bit like Alex.
It does.
With an
That's
A on the end.
Maybe why he repeated it so often. And lots of us have these little devices, and these are absolutely brilliant for people with sight problems because there's no screen, there's no buttons to press, it's all controlled with your voice. So Debbie has been working with an organisation in the UK to get our recorded news service onto these devices, and that's working really well, isn't it, Deb?
Yeah. Yes, so it's if anybody wants to use it, it's a skill called My Talking Newspaper. And you just have to say the A word.
Name.
Yes. And it's enable my talking newspaper. And then once you've done that, you can say, open my talking newspaper and play Manx recorded news. And there you go. You've got our news service. And say you don't have to be visually impaired to use that.
That's incredible, isn't it? And also, I think it's probably worth saying that, I mean, we talk about the volunteers who make this sort of thing happen. I'm guessing you'd welcome any other volunteers who would like to add themselves to the rota, because actually recording it is a little bit easier now as well.
Yes, I mean, we have a team of about 50 volunteers over the course of the year that not only read the newspaper, they copy it onto the 100 sticks every week and also send it out. Obviously, a big part of that is reading, and we have a team of about 20 readers that read on a rota basis. Unusually, unlike any other news service in the UK, we have one reader per week. In the UK, they tend to have an editor, they have a team of readers, and they have a technician, whereas our readers they're their own editors. They decide what goes in that week. And our readers come from all walks of life. We have professional radio presenters, Beth.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, oh no, you said 90 minutes. Sometimes I waffle on. I'm really sorry. It was probably better for me with the tape, wasn't it, when there was a limit? But anyway.